Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.
So we are back in our local Aldenham Park near the Aldenham Church, reading the Bhagavatam. And it is a little chilly, not sure how long I'm going to last. I didn't wrap up as warm as I should have because it felt a bit more mild. But the wind is blowing and it's very autumnal. The tree behind us, you can see the leaves on the ground. Winter is coming.
No, but it was on the news. Tomorrow apparently it's going to be, the weather warning is red, which is red alert, because it's some serious wind and rain and apparently like pretty dangerous levels.
Okay.
Yeah, so this is a prelude of that.
Alright. Prelude ki jai. Alright, so we're going to read Bhagavatam. Where are we?
Canto 4, Chapter 8, Text 70.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
Text 70. The great Maitreya continued. The king Uttanapad, after being advised by Narada Muni, practically gave up all duties in relation with his kingdom, which was very vast and wide, opulent like the goddess of fortune, and he simply began to think of his son Dhruva. 71. Elsewhere, Dhruva Maharaj, having arrived at Madhuvan, took his bath in the river Yamuna and observed fasting in the night with great care and attention. After that, as advised by the great sage Narada, he engaged himself in worshipping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. The significance of this particular verse is that Dhruva Maharaj acted exactly according to the advice of his spiritual master, the great sage Narada. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti also advises that if we want to be successful in our attempt to go back to Godhead, we must very seriously act according to the instruction of the spiritual master. That is the way of perfection. There need be no anxiety over attaining perfection, because if one follows the instruction given by the spiritual master, he is sure to attain perfection. Our only concern should be how to execute the order of the spiritual master. A spiritual master is expert in giving special instructions to each of his disciples. And if the disciple executes the order of the spiritual master, that is the way of his perfection. What a purport. What a oh my God. Just to pull out some bits, first of all, Dhruva Maharaj is acting according to the advice of his spiritual master. Prabhupada says that's significant. He says that's a significant, point in this verse. And if we want to be successful in going back to Godhead, we should very seriously act according to the instructions of the spiritual master. They also says there's no anxiety. There need be no anxiety over attaining perfection if you simply follow the instructions. So I think I was saying this the other day, whether you're successful or not in executing the instruction, that's up to Krishna, the spiritual master. But the fact that you actually try to do it is to your credit. And then this point about the spiritual master gives specific instructions, is expert in giving special instructions to each of his disciples, which is also a good point, because one devotee was worried. They recently initiated, and we were talking about spiritual. Maybe it was regarding Prabhupada and how he was telling his disciples, you go and open something here, you go there, and they were worried, oh my God, what if he tells me to leave my home and family or whatever, or even take them with me, but go somewhere else, and they didn't want to, and that's just good and it's honest, And then I remember saying, no, that they don't just give one blanket instruction. It is actually according to some intelligence and personal understanding of someone's level of surrender as well. Actually, that doesn't mean the person who doesn't want to leave is not a good disciple or whatnot, but they're surrendered in a certain way and they know this one will just up and go and do whatever. I think it was around Guru Das Prabhu. Wasn't he on the train?
Yeah,
and then
him and Jamuna were told by Prabhupada to get off in Delhi and start the temple.
Right, I don't think it was around that. But yeah, I think this purport is very interesting. I'll need to look at it again.
Parrots.
Look at that. As if on cue, Radharani's parrots.
It's a sign.
For sure.
Text 72. For the first month, Dhruva Maharaj ate only fruits and berries on every third day.
Jeepers.
That's a diet for you. Only to keep his body and soul together, and in this way he progressed in his worship of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. Kapita is a flower which is known in Indian vernacular as kayeta. We do not find an English equivalent for the name of this flower, but its fruit is generally not accepted by human beings. It is eaten by monkeys in the forest. Dhruva Maharaj, however, accepted such fruits not for luxurious feasting, but just to keep his body and soul together. The body needs food, but a devotee should not accept foodstuff to satisfy the tongue in sense gratification. Well, now that's a powerful point, isn't it? It is recommended in Bhagavad Gita that one should accept as much food as necessary to keep the body fit, but one should not eat for luxury.
No dear.
Dhruva Maharaj is an acharya, and by undergoing severe austerities and penances, he teaches us how one should execute devotional service. Very interesting. We must carefully know the process of Dhruva Maharaj's service. How severely he passed his days will be shown in later verses. We should always remember that to become a bona fide devotee of the Lord is not an easy task. But in this age, by the mercy of Lord Chaitanya, it has been made very easy. But if we do not follow even the liberal instructions of Lord Chaitanya, how can we expect to discharge our regular duties in devotional service? It is not possible in this age to follow Dhruva Maharaj in his austerity, but the principles must be followed. We should not disregard the regulative principles given by our spiritual master, for they make it easier for the conditioned soul. As far as our ISKCON movement is concerned, we simply ask that one observe the 4 prohibitive rules, chant 16 rounds, and instead of indulging in luxurious eating for the tongue, simply accept prasad offered to the Lord. This does not mean that with our fasting the Lord should also fast. The Lord should be given foodstuff which is as nice as possible, but we should not make it a point to satisfy our own tongue. As far as possible, we should accept simple foodstuff just to keep the body and soul together to execute devotional service. Well, there you go. So some orders of the spiritual master we'll like, and some we won't.
Yeah, but it's obviously relative what you need to keep your body and soul together as well.
Yes, but the key word I felt there was luxuriously. Yeah. And I was just thinking, it's like it's a challenge, because then Prabhupada says, we should accept prasad, and just because we're, let's say, fasting, it doesn't mean that the Lord should fast. And what does that mean? It means that we have to make offerings to Krishna. So it's not that Krishna eats like khichdi every day, but maybe that's in the temple. At our home, okay, maybe we should make something a little opulent for the Lord, but it doesn't have to be like a 7-course meal, especially of all the things that we like. For Krishna, pizza, taco, burrito, paneer steak or tofu steak, whatever it is that is opulent, halloumi burgers. And if you're getting excited about this conversation, then it shows you're a sense gratifier. No. So yeah, but everything has to be in balance. Everything has to also be taken in such a way that we start to apply it. As you'll see, it's austere what he's doing in the beginning for the first month, but wait till you see what he's doing in month number 4 or 5 or 6 or whatever it is. You know, because it gets progressively more intense. So that principle also is there. We have to start where we're at, and maybe we just need to start by offering prasadam, and because it's also pretty intense for most people to just follow the 4 regulative principles. So if there isn't some sense gratification, then one may not be able to maintain one's vows. So like that.
Next paragraph, it is our duty to remember always that in comparison to Dhruva Maharaj we are insignificant. We cannot do anything like what Dhruva Maharaj did for self-realization because we are completely incompetent to execute such service. But by Lord Chaitanya's mercy, we have been given all concessions possible for this age. So at least we should always remember that neglect of our prescribed duties in devotional service will not make us successful in the mission we have undertaken. It is our duty to follow in the footsteps of Dhruva Maharaj, for he was very determined. We should also be determined to finish our duties in executing devotional service in this life. We should not wait for another life to finish our job. That's a nice purport. Because like you're saying, it's not about imitating. We need to start where we are, but what we can take away, the lesson from this verse and even this pastime of Dhruva Maharaj, is his quality of determination. He was determined to see the Lord. Initially it was because he wanted a planet bigger and better than his granddad and this, that and the other.
Well, that's still his motivation at this point. He's doing all this because he's motivated also.
Yes.
Which is an interesting point. Sorry to cut it. Go ahead anyway. Go ahead.
That's all right. Please continue.
No.
I see your determination. No, I'm all right. I finished.
Okay. Yeah, so we also see that one can be more determined even to practice bhakti or perform spiritual life if one is going to get something out of it. So, that's why, Krishna has said, or even in this pastime, I mean, just some verses ago, we were reading, and Prabhupada was stating that it's like, whatever is our motivation for in this life, we should go to Krishna for it, so whether we want a planet all our own, or whether we want to be famous, or whether we want money, or whether we want to be austere, whatever it is, or if we're, honestly, we just want Krishna, we want to know what is the spiritual truth, so, wherever we are, okay, alright, let's see, 73, okay, we got a few verses and then a short purport. 73. In the second month, Dhruva Maharaj ate only every 6 days, and for his eatables he took dry grass and leaves. Thus he continued his worship. So here you can have a leaf salad. Ding dong, 5 o'clock. Pretty sure that was 5 dongs. In the third month he drank water only every 9 days. Thus he remained completely in trance and worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is adored by selected verses. Text 75. In the fourth month, Dhruva Maharaj became a complete master of the breathing exercise, and thus he inhaled air only every 12th day. Just trying not to inhale air out. In this way, he became completely fixed in his position and worshipped the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Text 76. By the 5th month, Maharaj Dhruva, the son of the king, had controlled his breathing so perfectly that he was able to stand on only one leg, just as a column stands without motion, and concentrate his mind fully on the Para-Brahman. Text 77. He completely controlled his senses and their objects, and in this way he fixed his mind without diversion to anything else upon the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. He fixed his mind without diversion to anything else upon the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Purport. The yogic principles of meditation are clearly explained here.
Look, there's a 602.
Well, there's already been 2 of them going the other way. Yesterday we couldn't get a 602. We waited for ages. The yogic principles of meditation are clearly explained here. One has to fix one's mind upon the form of the Supreme Personality of Godhead without diversion to any other objective. It is not that one can meditate or concentrate on an impersonal objective. To try to do so is simply a waste of time, for it is unnecessarily troublesome as explained in the Bhagavad Gita. Okay, interesting points. One thought that just came up to me is that Narada instructed him to chant Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, and also to create a form of the Lord to worship. But it's interesting when it goes to show what is it that kind of took him to the level where it attracted the Lord. It seems to be these different types of austerities and meditation and yogic practices rather than the bhakti process. I mean, if you get what I'm saying, it seems like, standing on one leg and not breathing, it seems to be what attracted the Lord, because it doesn't mention that he chanted, 5 million rounds of Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya, or that he worshipped the deity and chant. You know what I mean? It's interesting. But the Prabhupada explains, but yet in the purport, Prabhupada is explaining that it's personal, but it seems almost impersonal what he's doing, except the fact that he is meditating on the Lord. So I presume the form that he created as a murti, as a deity, was that form that he worshipped. And of course the form within the heart, because if you're performing this much austerity, you have to be connecting with something inside. Any thoughts on that?
No, I agree. I think he's Narada Muni purposefully directed him in the beginning to a personal form of the Lord. Otherwise, people go in the forest and just try to blank out and
try to blank out.
Well, what else they're doing, trying to not think of anything, and definitely no form, even though they've got a form, so I'm not sure where their form came from, but anyway. But I think it's more his determination to see the Lord. Doing whatever it takes to shut out everything else, but focus.
Yeah, we'll see how the story unfolds.
Yes.
Next time.
Yes.
It's just a little chilly out here.
It is.
Thank you all very much for your kind attention and for tuning in. Please remember to like,
comment,
subscribe,
and share.
Yes, Hare Krishna. Bhagavatam Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai.